smiling because you kept that signing class together pretty good?
Pretty much. Yeah, it's been but so did a lot of other schools in our league too, because I've been with some players from Vanderbilt and LSU and Tennessee, just to name a few, obviously other schools across the country, but UCLA, I don't know if they're going to get their boys, though. I think there's probably a little tampering there that might keep those kids from showing up on campus. But, we did hold our class together, probably the best, maybe since I've been here. We lost one, Sam Hentges, the big lefty. They went late in the third round, and they gave him basically sandwich pick money. Scared him a little bit, and he took it. Which, if we would have kept him, that would have been incredible to keep him and McKinney. So I thought we'd lose McKinney and keep Sam, and it ended up being opposite. But at least we kept one of them, and so I'm excited about that. And position players kept some guys, and it's going to be a very interesting fall because we have some returners back that can definitely help with their with just all the time they have in the league and experience that can help these young guys. These young guys are going to get better and push a little bit. So we'll figure it out.
Any concern about Killian's arms since he had to shut down?
No, I mean that was my biggest concern, and USA Baseball's biggest concern is we take care of the kids, and Trey pitched really well to make that team. I mean, his first outing was electric. He was 91, 93, nothing but strike. I think he threw 4 innings, 4 or 5, and struck out 7 or 8 guys in 3 or 4 or 5 innings, whatever. Tremendous outing, and then his second outing was good. Then his arm started bothering him a little bit. We let him rest a little bit, and then he threw 1 solid inning. He'd already made the team. But then he went 1, 2, 3, 11 pitches, 90, 91. So we felt like there was nothing wrong with the ligament, that he might just be having some possible tendonitis or strain. I still had Jalen Beeks fresh on my mind, his injury. So we shut him down, and they just decided that he went to the Netherlands with us, but he didn't pitch. And then we needed to add a pitcher to try to slow down Cuba a little bit, and so we sent him back here to get looked at. He'd already been looked at a couple of times by Team USA's doctor and a couple others, and they didn't feel like there was any structural damage in there. And then when he got back here, got the MRI, everything was clean. They said his elbow looked great, but he did have tendonitis, and so he just needs to rest it and rehab it. He'll be fine.
Were you surprised that you held that class together so well, given that you can't offer a bunch of money to pick the pros game?
Yeah, I mean, you have to go on what they tell you, and these guys stuck to it a little bit. Starting with McKinney. I mean, he wanted X amount of money, and they offered him a lot, or kept calling him and asking him if he would take a certain number, and he wouldn't back off of it. I think it was at least $1 million. He wouldn't back off, and credit to him. He stuck to his word, and he called a couple days in and said, "I'm coming." And it's great to hear that. They can always come back and give him what he wants. And then, Bonfield the same way. I mean, he wanted a certain amount, and they were a couple hundred short. And he just felt like, hey, if I go to school and become a premier hitter, looking at the money that some of these guys they're getting out of college, because there's not a lot of guys that hit. And if you do hit, you can get some money that would be, a good investment for him and his family. And there were some other guys with the same, went through the same situation. But, you just never know going into the draft. If kids get scared or decide they don't want to go to school, they don't want to deal with going to class or whatever. And, we were fortunate that we selected some of the right guys, and they stuck to what they told us.
It's like y'all really did a lot of home visits in, the last 4 months to try to solidify relationships.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. You got to have a relationship with these kids. I mean, recruiting now in baseball, it's almost to the point where, we haven't committed any 2017 kids yet, because they're just starting their sophomore year. They were in junior high last year. Some teams are starting to do it. It's a little bit spooky. We're well into the 16 class, but we haven't started offering 17s yet, and you know it's interesting that that's starting to go on, and it's too far out. But you know, I guess that's what we might have to do a little bit. But yeah, I mean, we did some in-home visits. We did a lot of calling and checking up and keeping up, and you know, you commit them verbally, as you know, then you sign them, and then you just keep right on recruiting them through the draft, after the draft, and basically till they walk in here and attend class. And because you know they could still leave and go to junior college, so you never know. And junior college in baseball, it's different than in other sports. Junior college is still popular amongst baseball players, gives them a chance to maybe for sure play right away, keep their option open to sign. So you know that's what we deal with.
What was it like losing that first game to Japan and getting all those shutouts on the way back?
Yeah, you know, we played Japan. We started out and we played Chinese Taipei, a 5-game series. I think we won the first 2 games, and we tied a game because we have the international tiebreaker, and the way that works is at the end of 9, you pick up your lineup and you take the last 2 outs and you put them on base. And then, you know, if you're the visiting team, you're hitting first. So you got to make a decision. Am I going to bunt, play for 1 or 2 runs? Am I going to let it go and see if we can pop this thing wide open? Well, we ended up tying. So we agreed that we were only going to play through 10 innings or 12 innings or whatever the case, and that's what we did. So we tied that game. I think we won the 4th game and maybe tied the 5th game because we were to the point where we run out of pitching. I mean, we had 12 pitchers and 12 position players. Japan and Chinese Taipei, it's interesting. They throw those pitchers, and they throw and throw and throw. They brought 9 pitchers and 15 position players. So they had guys that like to recycle. They never sit down. They pitch, they go down the line, and they throw. They pitch, go down the line, and throw. The next day, after throwing 8 innings, they're down there throwing a bullpen. They're playing catch. It's incredible the way they do it. And, you know, that's kind of Coach Jordan's philosophy. You throw, throw, throw. Not big into ice and arms and all that type stuff. So, you know, it works. But so we won that series, and then we played Japan. We won the first game, beat a really good pitcher. Lost 2nd game, and then we won the 3rd game to win that series. So that was big. Then we went to the Netherlands, and sure enough, we got Japan again. And so we got to face their ace, and he beat us. I think it was 1-0. I can't remember. All the games were so close. And here's we use the international ball, or we use the ball we use is a equivalent of minor league baseball or big league baseball. It's very hard. We go to the Netherlands. I don't know what happened. They purchased the balls, and they bought them somewhere locally that somebody, whatever. It was the wrong ball. It was a horrible baseball. We'd hit a lot of home runs, hit balls over people's head. You can tell the ball coming off those wood bat. It really cracks, though, that hard baseball. We get to the Netherlands, we were using a Nerf ball. That ball was horrible. As a matter of fact, in the first game, we're playing Japan, and we were the visiting team, and our last hitter, our 3-0 hitter, flew out to right. And the way the Japan team works, they throw the ball into the second baseman. The third baseman stands by the mound and waits, and they throw the ball to him, and he drops it on the mound, no matter what the situation is. Our pitcher goes out there, picks it up. Caprillion from UCLA picks it up, looks at it, and throws it in. So this ball just got in the game, maybe been hit one time. I went and picked it up. It was already semi-lopsided. That's a bad baseball. So our people went, you know, USA people were upset. Tried to get the ball changed. Oh, it was a problem. We didn't hit 1 home run in 8 games. Wind was blowing out hard to right a lot. There were 2 home runs hit, I think, both hit by the same player from Japan, a left-handed hitter, right down the right field line. We had a couple balls off the wall. Nobody ever hit a ball over our head the whole tournament. So it's the ball. I'm just telling you, it's the ball. The bat's okay, it's the ball. And I brought back every baseball that I could. I brought back big league ball, minor league ball, international ball, and the cream puff ball. And it's the ball. And so hopefully that ball we're going to get here in the next week or 2 is going to be better. But losing to Japan game 1, that was really disappointing. Kind of had an uphill climb. And then the next day we had to face Netherlands. They saved their number 1 for us. And you're going to laugh when I tell you that this guy could flat out pitch. He was 39 years old. And he pitched 2 years ago in the World Games or something and pitched the championship game, and they beat like Dominican Republic or Cuba. he was unbelievable. 86 mile an hour, straight downhill. One of the best changeup I've ever seen. Never threw a ball above mid-thigh. At the end of 8, or at the end of 7, whenever they pulled him, it was 0-0. We scored. We punched in a run, and we beat them. We broke their heart because that was their guy. And we had 1 or 2 chances to score on him. We just pitched great. And then we went on to win. That was our first win. I think we won 6 more in a row. We ended up facing Japan again. And we had to face their big gun. They have a kid that beat us the first game. As a matter of fact, I had heard that he might have already signed professionally with the Mets. And he was 90-92. And they throw a different pitch that's kind of a splitter curveball that's just filthy. It's got a different rotation on it, and he had it perfected along with location. And he was one of the taller kids on their team. He's probably more towards 6'3". But we faced him, and we got after him a little bit. We hit and run 4 times because we were having trouble, bunting. We were having trouble scoring. We'd bunt people over, we wouldn't score. So we hit and run 4 times in that game, 4 base hits. First and third, nobody out. Every time we got somebody on, we hit and run. And we ended up scoring runs on him. And he was frustrated, got his pitch count up, and it ended up working out. But we won that tournament. And then we went to Cuba, and it was the men against boys. They were waiting on us because I don't know if you guys know what happened last year. Last year they came to the United States and they didn't bring all their guys because they're worried about defection. And there was one that defected, and he's already in the big leagues. If that tells you what we're getting into. If you go over to Cuba and you're on that island, there's 26 professional teams. And that's what those guys do for a living. They make their $40 a month. They get some stardom. These guys, that's what they do. They don't drive a cab. They're not a bartender. I mean, but Cuba was amazing. So they took the best players off of that team, and were waiting on us. Last year they didn't take everybody, and USA beat them 3 one-run games and a couple other close games. They beat them 5 straight. They went back to Cuba, and they were embarrassed. They lost a player. What I was told is they were distracted. America, they loved it. All they want to do is go shopping. They loved Walmart. They wanted flats, and I'm just being truthful. They wanted flat screen TVs. I mean, because you have to be over there to know what I'm talking about. And it was an incredible experience. That's what I was looking forward to the most. I mean, no families could go. It was all the team. We had to take a charter plane from Miami. It was USA baseball team and some Cubans. And I don't know why, but that plane was full. We flew from Miami. There was only 90 miles to the closest tip. Took 40 minutes in the air. But, yeah, that was pretty incredible. So they had 26 teams to choose from, and they're in between seasons. They play, from what we hear, they play like 60, 80 games. They take a break, and then they do it again. Well, we were looking at their stats when we get there. It was incredible. All the hitters had 300 at-bats. I mean, their 3-hole hitter had 71 walks and 14 strikeouts. He was incredible. And I could go on and on. Speed and center. In 5 games, they did not miss a ball with their glove. They made 2 errors, and it was both on the same player, and they were on throws. Pulled the guy off on an off-balance play. They scored. Another was kind of a lackadaisical play. They made every play. I mean, I have never seen defense like this. These dudes can play, and they want to play over here. And they were talking to our guys, and it's kind of sad. But Cuba was an incredible experience. Just the people were really, really nice to us, and they were excited that the Americans were there. Some of them hadn't seen Americans before. We got to stay in an all-inclusive resort. So did the Cuban team. Our players hung out, talked as best they could, traded gear, competed hard, but they wanted to beat us. When they beat us game 1, 4-3, man, their coaches were hugging, celebrating, because they were feeling a lot of pressure. I could see it. You could really see it. The stadium was like playing in a bullfighting arena. I mean, it was loud, the horns, the intercom system was so loud, and just after every out or pitch there was noise, and it was very distracting, and it took us a little bit of time to get used to it. And we played at 2 different arenas, and I could talk about it for an hour, but it was our players. I'll tell you this too: we needed to play them, and I think USA Baseball figured it out because they were all there watching. We were exhausted. We had done all this travel. We were in 19 different hotels, 19 in 40 days. we needed to play that series against them over there before we went to Holland. Because by the time we flew overseas, played, just the food, everything, the travel, flew all the way back to Detroit, all the way to Miami, Miami there, 1 day off, traveled to the other side of the island, didn't even get to practice, and then try to play them a game. Pretty excited for the first game after that. Our guys, you could just see it as a coach. I know how tired I was. They were tired. Cuban team was in between their break. They were practicing, and they were just waiting for us, and they had us. And we fought really hard. They competed, and we lost 1-0, 4-3. I think 3-0, 2-1, and like 7-3. We could have won every game. We were only getting 3 and 4 or 5 hits a game. They were getting 7 or 8 hits a game. We hit 2 home runs. They didn't hit a home run. But they were big, physical, really good baseball players. I was really impressed with them.
Is it like playing a AAA team or
At least.
team?
AAA. I'd say AAA. They're pitching. They don't walk anybody. And you know, the youngest pitcher we faced was game 1. We faced a 19-year-old as their next big thing. They're probably keeping an eye on him pretty close. Really, really cocky. Just to give you an idea, he goes out in the first inning, and his first 2 pitches are 90. The second pitch is 93. Then it's all kinds of off-speed pitch. The second inning, we barreled one up and hit one over somebody's head on a fastball. He didn't hardly throw any more fastballs the rest of the day. He just cut us up with everything else. In about the third inning, we throw our rosin bag out there because it's sweating profusely. Guys, where's our rosin bag? We throw out there. Our guy uses it. At the end of the inning, he comes out, takes our rosin bag. He's got his out there and launches it at our dugout. You know, that's the kind of arrogance that, I mean, you should have seen it. It was something else, but he's pretty good. You know, when he went out of the game, I think they were up 4-1. We cut the lead. We had a home run, made 4-2, then 4-3, and then we had 2 on in the 9th, and we didn't get a hit. And but then after that, it was mostly 23. We faced a 23-year-old lefty that, you know, he'd been double AAA right now. Really good stuff. He went 8 innings against us, and then their closer was 95 and had a nasty breaking ball, and he threw 2 or 3 times. And then they decided they're going to start him in Game 5, and he went 7 against us. He pitched in 3 games. And he threw hard early. But, you know, then we faced 27-year-old. I don't know, you know. And hard to read the roster because they wouldn't put their dates of their birth dates. They were the only team that we played all summer didn't have their birth dates on there. We had to try to investigate.
Did they all look like they were probably their
Mid-20s. You know, the shortstop, probably upper 20s, third baseman, mid-20s, second baseman the same. They had one hitter that had over 300 at bats, was hitting 420. We didn't get him out. Left-handed hitter, hit it down the left field line, hit it down the right field line. He's one of those guys. If he gets off and he goes, you'll see him on TV.
Did you feel comfortable there?
You know, that's a good question. I was a little nervous. We landed in Havana. The airport was packed outside, and we went outside, and they had people security lined up. We had to walk through them to the buses, load the bus, and there was crowds of people everywhere. Just wanted to look at the Americans and probably waiting on some of the other people, but they were everywhere. And then you look in the parking lot, and I thought I went back in time. It was like 57 Chevys, 55 Buick. There were vehicles I didn't even recognize. And I kind of like cars, and I know them, I think. Didn't hardly see any pickup trucks. Saw vehicles that I don't know how they're still running. They're 60, 70 years old. And it's crazy. It's the craziest thing you ever saw. And, you know, they're proud of them, too. They take care of them. They said they say over there, just talking to the people, they said, we don't really have mechanics. We have magicians to keep those things running. That's what he told me. And they're funny. It's funny. I had a good time. So, but I felt safe, yeah. Once we got around the people and talked to them, and, you know, they just wanted to see the American guys, you know. And I'll tell you this, our pitching, every bit as good as theirs, better, maybe. We're young. I mean, our pitchers were incredible. But their hitters are way ahead of us with the wood bat because that's what they do for a living. And you could really see it. We were fighting to score, and we were fighting to keep them from scoring. Our pitching did a tremendous job.
Did you see Castro? Was he at any of the games?
I met his son. He came down and shook our hand, and, you know, there's pictures of Castro everywhere, in the dugouts, on the outfield fence, on the billboards, everywhere. Everywhere.
Coach, does it make you value?
Pardon?
Make you value more what we have here?
Oh yeah, no doubt,
Things like that?
no doubt. When we landed in Miami, we're on a big plane with it was a commercial flight back to the U.S. I mean, our 24 players, they started clapping. They were glad to get onto the USA soil, I'll guarantee you. And if we'd have landed on a runway or as a charter, I think they might have kissed the ground, just to be honest with you. But I think they have a real appreciation for what we have. And, you know, just talking with their players about what they want and they can't get. It's sad. It's a sad deal, you know, that they can't come over here and play big league baseball and then go back home and be with their families. That'd be hard. It really is.
Other than O'Shea, is there anybody else transferring out?
Gosh, you know, maybe I can meet with you next week or talk and release something. As of right now, I think there may be another one. There may be one. We're still waiting to see on a couple of things. I mean, it's the roster is something that I'm working on now, just making sure we're good with everything. We're going to have a lot of guys in here that are good baseball players and guys want to play. So I don't know. I'll probably give me a couple of days on that, and then we'll get together, and I'll be able to probably tell you everybody, because I need to get on the phone with some kids. I couldn't call from Cuba. I used security guard's phone one night, the second place we stayed, because you couldn't even buy internet. And first place we could text. If you bought, you could get internet for $4.50 an hour, and you had to sit in a certain area. And then in the other place, you couldn't even get it. So I borrowed the security guard's phone. He got an international phone. We had 3 security guards from Miami go with us. They, you know, they were just there. They had a good time, and he let me use his phone a little bit to call home, just say hi. Hadn't talked to anybody for a while, so.
Kind of talked about Chuck a little bit, but he's going to be a new look for
Yeah.
the radio voice and a new PA.
Yeah, I got the PA email yesterday, and you know, I'm gonna miss Chuck. He's incredible. I honestly, I figured this might happen. I mean, how can you do three sports? Just no personal time. And I haven't, you know, we text back and forth. When I got the message on it, I sent him a long text, and then he actually sent me a text, kind of apologized, saying that he didn't talk to me, you know, about it, so I didn't have to read about it. And then we kind of text back and forth, and I told him how much I appreciated him and the job he had done, and it was good. So I haven't seen him yet, but I mean, those are some big shoes to fill, and I hope that I hope there's some guys out there or some people out there that are really interested and they can select the right person. I know it's going to be a process. And then our stadium announcer, to me, the stadium announcer job is really important. I mean, just being at different facilities the last couple of years, and you know, our guy, he did a good job. He was the guy after the guy, and that's a tough place to be. We need to get the right guy. We need the energy person, the voice, the enthusiasm, because we need to get this stadium rolling. We need to get it rocking out there, and energy, and that helps, you know, if you can get the right stadium person. And I appreciate the effort of all those guys, but you know, again, we just got to find the right person. Hopefully there's somebody in this area that wants to do it.
When you get all of your class in, I mean, I guess you sign them thinking, well, we won't get them all. Is that what the tough part about the summer is?
Yeah, I mean, it's always dealing with 11-7.
Scholarship.
Yeah, it's the magic number, and you just have to be there. And sometimes it works out perfectly. Sometimes there's some hurt feelings. You know, finger gets pointed at me. Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? But we've been really upfront with everybody. We've tried to be fair, and you know, for the most part, you know, it's working out. You know, some guys helped us out. That happens when I say help you out, they give a little bit back. You know, we've increased a guy here that came for nothing for a year or two, and we try to take care of people that earn it. Again, we don't have enough scholarship for college baseball. It's just not right, you know, and everybody deals with it except a couple of schools, because they have what they call need money, and they can kind of do whatever they want. But that's another story that may come out sometime in the next couple of years. So, but us, you know, state schools that aren't private, 11.7, and it's what we deal with.
One more question.
When you went to Cuba, did you feel like you were in a time war?
A little bit, you know, and I kind of knew what we were, you know, what I was getting into myself personally and the team, but I think you just have to see it. And I don't think people realize this. Cuba's beautiful. I hope that during my lifetime that it's opened back up to the United States, because you'll want to go. It's a combination of being in Hawaii in different areas. You get around the edges, the resorts and the beaches are incredible. And why fly all the way to Hawaii when you can just run over to Cuba? I mean, it's the hospitality, the food, just the beauty of everything. It's pretty special, and it's a secret kind of. And you know, the people that go there, I mean, there's Canadian people, there's Europeans. You can fly from Mexico City to there, and that's how the Americans do it. They fly to Mexico City to there, or they have to go up to Toronto and come in. But you just can't. You know, learning about it, I didn't know all about it. I still don't know enough about it, but it's if you get a chance to go over there, it's pretty amazing.
The whole Team USA is, you know, talking to college coaches, it's an incredible commitment to time.
Yeah.
And now that you've done it, would you do it again?
Yes, I'd do it again if I hadn't have done it, because I don't know how to explain that. Yeah, I'm tired, but I'm excited about it. I'll be fine in a week. But it was 40-plus days of straight-up coaching baseball. I think it'll make me a better coach. I mean, I've been dealing with 24 of the best players in the country. They all want to play. They're looking at you when they're not. The pitcher's dealing with the pitching staff. Coach Jones did a tremendous job keeping those guys happy and getting them ready. You know, because almost everybody we had starters, except a few kids were definitely just flat-out relievers. Everybody knew their role, but there's always 3 kids that didn't start every day, and they might not start a lot. So we had to have some tough tough conversation with guys. You know, we had to cut guys. We had to bring them in a room, you know, at the beginning of the summer after a few games and some practices, and we had to let some guys go that are good players. That was really hard. And so I learned a lot. But I guess to answer your question, I'm really glad I did it. Am I ready to do it again in the next couple of years? No, because it is very time-consuming. But as far as just coaching baseball and traveling and being on a bus and being around guys, that's all it was. You know, and then you on a bus in America, we're trying to keep up with your program and talking to kids and texting and emailing and calling. But when we got out of country, it was difficult. I had to go through Coach Jorn and Tony to get the news of the day. And, you know, it's 1 in the morning there, and we got done playing. I'm on the phone, and it's 9 o'clock back here, or 7 in the morning, or whatever it was. And you know, sometimes I'd stay up till 2 and 3 in the morning so I could get a hold of people. So it was difficult.
You get to coach guys that you're going to face.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was there that one day you were joking with Alex about
Mhm.
not going to breaking balls anymore. I mean, just how much did that kind of help you get to know some of these guys that you're going to face again next year?
Oh yeah, I mean it helped a lot. You know, in my mind, I feel that I know them a lot more what they're all about inside. And you know, like Swanson from Vandy, he might not have been there when you were out there. What a great kid, man! What a great athlete. He got sick and didn't play the last 4 games against Cuba, and that really hurt us. He was our starting second baseman, our leadoff man. He'll probably play short at Vanderbilt this year. Great athlete. You know, got to be around Alex Bregman a lot, and you know, Stewart from Tennessee. And yeah, I mean, I feel like I know maybe a little more about him. Maybe it'll help us get him out. Maybe not. You know, you still got to make the pitch or whatever. But I do know what gets them going and what they're all about. I mean, those guys are baseball players. You know, Bregman and Swanson, those guys. Out of all the kids, those kids showed up every day, ready to roll. And you know, I was really proud of those guys. But yeah, it's fun getting to be around players. They're just like our players. They just wear a different uniform, and you get to know them. You kid around a lot. And it was good, you know. But there were times I had to be the bad guy too, you know. Get upset when they don't play good or play hard. And you know, the thing is, when you don't have time invested in somebody, recruiting them, sometimes you can't be yourself as far as what you really want to say or want to act, because it's an all-star team. But I told them that I had to come out of that a little bit, and I'm going to treat you like I have a lot of time invested in you. And you know, had to have some talks with guys, because there's some attitude and there's a lot of feelings, and had to deal with all that. You know, usually in the summer I get away from that a little bit, and then you get it going again in August. But there was no downtime.
Thanks, Coach.